Hey, this is Kaala Radio. I'm hungover. My ears are ringing. Let's listen to some metal. This is Intestine Baalism. Okay, that was Brob with the song It. Brob are absolutely fantastic. You should check out that whole album. It is full-on old-school grindcore. This next band you probably have never heard, so let me introduce them to you. This is Endless Dismal Moan. Welcome back to Kaala Radio at Studio Chaos. You just listened to F.I.D's Lost. F.I.D stands for help me out, Makiko. How do we say this?
Okay. Flagitious Idiosyncrasy in the Dilapidation.
All right, yeah. So we have Makiko Suda, singer of... Sorry, I'm just kidding. Welcome, Makiko. Thanks very much for coming along today. I saw you guys, I think, first like 2 years ago. And I was really, really impressed with just what I saw. I thought it was, like, for me, coming from an old background of grindcore, like bands like Carcass, stuff like that. It just really blew me away. You've got, like, the nice chuggy parts. You've got the super fast blast beats. It's super, super cool. I love it. Really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
We got a lot of questions for you, but the first one is, where did you get the name?
Yeah, like, I wanted to have the name which can be like really distinguishable, like, because if we have like death or like destroy or something, like you can never find it on like Google.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to have something really annoyingly difficult vocabulary in my band name. That's the reason why.
I hesitate to say you managed to do that. So, actually, I think that's how I actually found out about you guys, because there are lots of videos on YouTube as well of just like crazy female band from Japan with amazing name.
No, it was like most ridiculous name.
It's fairly crazy, actually. I'm gonna say. I think the first ever time I saw a video of you guys, you were playing in America, right?
Yes.
You've played abroad.
Yes.
Okay. And Aaron told me this just last week, I think, as well, obviously from the notes, that you actually used to live in America.
Yes.
Okay. Whereabouts in America?
I went to high school in Jacksonville, Florida.
What? Jacksonville? Or something. Why were you over there? Why were you living over there?
I went to high school. I mean, I wanted to study in the US, but I didn't want to live in somewhere cold, so I picked up in Hawaii High School in Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait. Okay, so you...
No, it was not my family mother or anything. Just I
Yeah.
study abroad. How do you say like?
Like overseas study.
Yes.
So you were there alone without your mum and dad?
Without my parents, yes.
Wow.
I was at a boarding school.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. How was that?
It was boring. It was interesting because the dormitory was just in front of a swamp and there are many alligators and stuff. So.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Let's get drunk and go and touch an alligator. When you were there, what, if you don't mind me asking, we can probably figure out your age from what you're about to say. Which in Japan, for those listening, it's kind of impolite to ask.
I don't mind
their
it.
age. I'm not going to do that. But what years were you there?
I was there like 97 to 98.
97 to 98.
96. Well, I was there for 2 years, yeah.
All right.
My junior and senior years.
And were you already listening to heavy music, or was that something you found in America? Or?
Actually, I started listening to punk stuff when I was in Japan, but that was my junior, I don't know, like sophomore year.
Sure.
And I moved to Florida, and I got into it more because, there are more information.
Sure. Yeah.
So I found like fanzine, and like it's not fanzine, but like maximum rock and roll and stuff. So I got more into it.
So and when you say, you'll have to edit that one out. When you say that you were listening to punk, was it, because I think around 97, like that era, and definitely 95, things like that. Where I was, things like the Fat Wreck Chords, Slap a Ham, stuff like that was very, very popular.
Yes.
Are you talking that kind of punk, or are we talking like the heavier side of punk? I would consider bands like, for me, Extreme Noise Terror. I didn't know that there was a thing called grindcore. So when I was listening to them, I just thought, wow, that's super fast punk, super heavy punk. So what kind of bands were you listening to?
And like as you mentioned, I was into like Epitaph and records, but I am still, but I'm big fan of Descendants.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fantastic one.
Yes.
Which album?
But for my age, like everything sucks. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's still like when I get old, makes me cry.
Cool.
Yes.
Did you ever get to see them live? Or?
No, unfortunately no.
Oh, okay. Had they split up by then, or were they coming back?
They just came back that time.
All right. Cool. Very, very cool. So whilst you were out there, did you see any bands that will make me feel jealous right now? Like, what were you doing as part of your daily thing? Like, going out, going to clubs, stuff like that? Gigs and things like that?
You mean like when I was in Florida?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I couldn't go to any gigs because of the rule.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes, it was really strict school, so...
Wow, okay. I mean, when you say strict, were you allowed to, have your own, like, music there? Things like that?
Yes, actually, I got into trouble because I was buying a lot of CDs, and like I got into grindcore and Dismal, and so somehow my dorm mother found out my package with really like brutal name on it.
Nice.
So she got so mad, like, Makiko, you shouldn't listen to them.
Which of course is probably kind of, well, actually I should listen to them if you're telling me that. Going from the Descendants to the kind of music F.I.D. plays quite a big jump.
Yes.
Right? How did you make that transition from thinking I really like this like melodic punk, especially the later stuff on Epitaph, to I want to go super heavy? Mm-hmm. Like I've seen you live. I want to scream my lungs out. How did that start to happen?
Well, as I told you that I was digging a lot of music and I was trying to buy many stuff from mail orders.
Sure.
Yes, and there was this, and then I found out Asaku is from Florida, so I thought I should check out.
Sure.
And I was like, oh wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And that time I was into, how to say, correspondence.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
So I was doing a mixtape trade, and many people recommended me like power violence and grindcore, and I just happened to buy this compilation by Strapham, Fiesta Comes Grande.
Yes. Yeah.
That changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So you're back in Japan from Jacksonville.
Yes.
You must have come back at what seems like quite a fertile time for the Japanese scene. It seems like around like 99 to 2002. It seemed like there were a lot of the bands that I really, really like nowadays just starting to do their thing. So when you came back, were you thinking, I've got to start this band? Or like how did you get to starting F.I.D?
Oh, actually, when I came back, like I was desperately wanted to find band friends,
Sure.
So I got to know these girls. Do you know Eliza and Sokatsu Rinchi?
I do not.
But so like I got to know Eliza at that time. So it was like a really short time. So, but I played with her, like this band called Anadore.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really like primitive punk rock. None of us could play instruments.
Okay, I'll ask this silly question. Did you release anything?
We had a demo tape.
Okay.
Yes, and we even played for like Shibuya Quattro.
Whoa. Okay. So,
That was crazy, but
I think for anyone listening who doesn't actually know about Shibuya Quattro, Makiko just said, we're just creating noise essentially, but Shibuya Quattro is a massive club.
yes.
It's a huge club. So you played there.
Yes, it was kind of like underground music festival.
Sure. So it's Anadore.
Yes,
For
Anadore.
anyone who wants to check, is there anything on the internet that they can find
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna type that in and go and check that out. So you did that,
Yes.
and was then it straight onto F.I.D?
No, before F.I.D, I was playing for this Goa grindcore band with guys. Yes, so like we just recorded a demo CDR.
And you were singing?
Yes, with pitch shifter. Pitch shifter and a normal mic. So I had 2 microphones. It was fun.
Okay, that's cool. It's like the dude from Gozen. Where I never knew anything about the vocal side of things, but I always thought like, wow, his voice is super deep. The guy, the skinhead.
Yes.
And when I met him, I just heard his voice. I was like, do you use pitch shifting at all? And he's like, yes, I do. And what was the name of that band?
It's another ridiculous band name, right? That was like
I think that's what we're expecting at the moment.
Oh, the Tremendous Terror.
Tremendous? Or
Tremendous.
Tremendous terror.
Yeah.
Okay. And we got the one demo from that.
Yes.
Okay. I actually would be very interested to hear that as well. And then F.I.D?
Then F.I.D. And the ex-guitarist, she actually started a band. She wanted to start a band, like only girls, grindcore band. So, and then we didn't want to have like gully band, just like we want to start a band just girls because it's easier. Because at the rehearsal we can even talk about like some good bakery shop or something like that. So we just found like other girls, we knew Tomoko, the drummer. She was already playing for the other metal band.
Is that your drummer now?
Yes.
Is it Sun Goddess, right?
That's the guitarist now.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
done my research.
Yeah, so Tomoko was playing for the metal band, and actually that time that our current guitarist was playing bass. The Sun Goddess guitarist.
Sure. Okay. Wow. I'm trying to think if I ever saw you guys with that.
That was long time ago, like 12 years ago or something.
Wow, that long ago?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did I ever see you with... You had like a male drummer at one point?
We had a male guitarist.
Male guitarist?
Yes.
So he was really into bakery shops and stuff?
No, actually. Yeah. He was into gourmet stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
You like bread? You can get in.
Yeah.
So, was it a slow start here?
Yes, slow start. Just like... We didn't know which direction we wanted to take, or we just wanted to play grindcore.
Okay, yeah. So it was always grindcore.
Yes.
The start. Yeah. All right. Just to backtrack a bit, how did you start doing your vocals? Because I would think at a boarding school, a strict boarding school, if you're in the showers or something, going, "Roar!" they might be scared a little, or just go and check what's wrong. So when did you realise? Because it's hard. It's really, really hard.
Yeah, but this is kind of funny, but I was into this punk band called Detestation.
Yeah.
You know that band, right? And then they got the female vocalist. And I wanted to have the vocal like that, like high screaming voice. So actually that wasn't in my dormitory, in the shower room. I was trying to.
So I hit it nail on the head.
Yeah, so I was trying to, but I didn't know how to make the sound voice. Then the throaty voice came out. I was like, oh, this is now I was expecting. But
so it literally just happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it happened in the shower room.
There you go. I'm good at predicting that kind of stuff. Yeah, that is really, really weird that you've done that. So we heard a bit a while back. We heard "Lost" off your first album. That's the first album.
Yes.
And just walk me through. I mean, I'd like to know where you recorded it for a start. I think that was the recording on it's fantastic. I really like it. The thing that really comes out for me is the fact that you can hear so much of the mix, even during the blast beats. It's fantastic. Yeah, just where did you record it? Was it a good experience? Was it a learning experience? That kind of thing.
It was a learning experience for sure because we recorded separately.
Right.
Yeah, so like we recorded drum at the studio, of course, and I recorded my vocal at the studio, but like separately. And the guitarist recorded her guitar from her home, and the bassist did too. And we just mixed down, and like the engineer did a great job. He's Okada-kun from Disconformity.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
right.
he did a great job.
When you were recording, if you're doing it separately, did your band members turn up and kind of like help and go, "Ganbatte, Makiko"? Or were they just kind of like, "Oh, it's just you recording. I'm going to stay at home today"?
Just like do whatever you want. That style.
Okay. That's like how that's how we recorded as well. It was always kind of like, "Oh, it's just him recording, so he can stay there." The album art is your art, yeah?
Yes.
And the second album, the one, the kind of like the lady in kimono,
yes,
she's it's all twigs or something like that. That's your art, right?
Yes, that's mine too.
Okay, so this is a hobby or like a profession for you?
It's hobby, but I would love to say it's like part of my life.
Sure.
I love drawing and doodling. So
have you done any other covers for other people?
No, only for F.I.D.
Okay. If people were wanting to get a Suda original, could they contact you and get your drawing?
Yes, I would love to.
There you go, people. The Japanese underground scene is fantastic. Are there any bands that you would recommend to people who are thinking, there's just Coffins and Boris?
Or definitely self-deconstruction. They are great. Like they're like really newer generation grindcore. Yes, it's really tight and female vocal, like which I love, of course.
Cool.
And like it's really great. And my always favorite is Flight Slappers.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Fantastic.
They are fantastic. Like if anyone hasn't listened to them, please check it out. They are great.
Yeah. Fantastic. So you guys have 2 albums out?
Yes.
Where can people find out more about F.I.D? Where can people buy, because you should buy their work, where can people get in touch with you?
Oh, sweet. We have released our albums from 6 Weeks Records.
6 Weeks Records?
Yes,
okay.
Which I really, really love. So I'm so happy that we could release from them. And like we usually update our information on our Facebook. So if you are interested in to check us out, please check Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Facebook is Flagitious Idiosyncrasy and the Dilapidation.
Yes.
So get typing, people. If you start now, you'll have typed it out in time for Christmas. Sorry. You know what though? I'd be kind of surprised if you went onto Google and typed in Japanese extreme underground, something like that. That F.I.D didn't come up almost immediately. You guys are a fantastic band, like really, really good. And
Thank you.
Everyone should check your stuff out. Thank you very much, Makiko.
Thank you.
All right, people, we are going back in time right now. We are going to listen to Honjoh Misako's Distraction. Welcome back to Kaala Radio. I have with me the owner, operator, instigator of Kaala Radio. He's a full-fledged member of the Japanese underground scene. He's a PhD and collects stuffed animals. Welcome, Matt Ketchum.
Hey there, buddy. What's going on?
How's it going, man?
Good, good. I was just at a show last night you probably heard of. It was Self-Deconstruction runs an ongoing concert series called, if I remember correctly, Anomalous Collision, I think. And
sounds about right.
Yeah, last night was the 12th. So there was, Self-Deconstruction was playing, Golzen was playing, a band whose name I can't say on the radio was playing. Who else? Butcher ABC was there. Who am I forgetting? Anyway, really good show over at
Raging Fury.
Raging Fury. Raging Blast. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was over at Niman Denatsu in Koenji, which is a really excellent club. Kind of small, but I mean, it really gets, a lot of really good shows over there, and it's quite well known.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone listening, that is or was the club owned by John Zorn.
Yes, he's somehow related to it. I know that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think Taka would know because he has quite a lot of John Zorn stuff up in his room, I saw. So, yeah, and funny enough, I, as well, last night was at another concert.
Oh, were you?
The Funeral Moth and I think Presence in Your Soul were the other band. They were very, very good. It was very, very different to what you would have seen.
Where was that over?
That was in Shimokitazawa at Studio Bade.
Right. I've never been there, but the name, I know the name. I think I put it on the schedule, actually, was why I know
and
it.
that's how I found out about it. I believe there was one down in Yokohama. There was loads of stuff going on last night.
Yeah.
And this is why we have Kaala at the moment, because the Tokyo scene is very, very lively. Like, there's always stuff going on. And you actually get to points where you look at something and you think, oh man, I missed them play tonight. What? So how is Kaala helping with all of that?
Well, I mean, it sort of this kind of goes into the Genesis story, right? But
I love Genesis. Like,
yeah,
Touch,
Phil Collins.
Amazing.
I mean, that's what a drummer.
Yeah.
But no, so like we played in Retch and also in Dark Corpse, and before that I was in a few other bands. And first and foremost, the scene is just like you said, it's super lively. So why not just kind of help out with it? But one of the main things that kind of Kaala started thinking about, or is one of the reasons why Kaala started, is because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of shows, but so far as like information and communication is concerned, it's really difficult, not only just to figure out which show to go to because you've got a list of like 7 shows on one night, but even if you know where they are, well, how do you get there? Like, a lot of these places don't even have signs. And even figuring out where and when the shows are happening is difficult because there's no kind of unified, list or schedule. Telling people about these shows in English, in Japanese, in, whatever language floats your boat.
It's funny you mentioned the hard to find thing, because Japan, anyone who's been to Tokyo would know that one of the things that separates it as a city from most Western places is that you could go to a live house here. I'm trying to think.
And not even know you were there.
Yeah. It has that effect on you. You could kind of think, you could look at your map or whatever and think like, hey, I'm right here, I can't see it. And it's on like the 10th floor or something ridiculous.
I totally remember the first time I went to Earthdom in like 2009 or so. I was out right in front of it and I did not notice. I ended up going to a police box and being like, hey guys, I'm trying to go to a metal show. Could you, officer, tell me?
No, I'm going to arrest you instead.
Yeah, right. And he was like, oh no, it's literally the building right next to this one. So just go there because you're already there, basically. And it's like, oh, wow.
Fun enough, I think it took me at least 5 times of going to Earthdom to finally not walk past it.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't actually remember the entrance. I look at it, I think it's a Caesarea across the road.
Yes.
Once I'm there, then I know it's...
I look for the mini stop.
Yeah.
The mini stop next door.
So, it is... There are so many concerts going on, and it is like hard to find all that stuff. So we've got Kaala as like an information source. What else are you doing for the scene?
Well, there's Blood Right, which we just did last weekend. It was the 11th, and Retch was on that bill.
Who else was on that bill? Remind me.
Let me remember that. There was a little band called Intestine Baalism.
Oh yeah, everyone should listen to them. They were the band that opened the show. They are incredible.
There was a little band called Flagitious from Shizuoka playing their incredibly, I don't know, they're not raw black metal, but they're pretty true with a V. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're very gevult.
Yeah. And then an excellent band from Sendai called Begrebnis, who, I mean, that entire show was awesome. Like, it was a lot of fun. But Begrebnis really, they blew it out of the water. I mean,
yeah, and I remember when you were kind of arranging that, you were saying there's this whole thing of Intestine Baalism not headlining.
Right.
Which was weird, because it was like... But then it turns out, the Begrebnis were absolutely incredible anyway. If anyone hasn't heard them, they should. They're a fantastic band. But also that... I spoke to so many people that night, especially some of the foreign people there, who said, "Oh, we don't know who Intestine Baalism is. We've just found this thing about this concert, and that just came along out of it."
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's also kind of what Kaala. Well, no, that is one of the focuses that Kaala has. Is we're not really looking to get people who aren't into metal. I mean, if that happens, then okay, that's great. But that's not the focus. The focus is there's a lot of people worldwide, but we're in Japan, so a lot of Japanese people and just people in this country who already like this music.
Yeah.
Right. They would go if they knew how to go or where to go, and they don't because again, there's this lack of information that's kind of being distributed. So I was really, really happy with the turnout. In a number of ways, but I think we got 70 people, I think, in the door, which for at least an underground show is, that's definitely an acceptable number.
That's the good underground, though. That's the kind of thing that if you've come along listening to this music and someone says underground, you always think of, no stage, it's on the floor, there's not that many people there, but everyone's having a good time, and that's mostly what the concerts are like here. It is very useful to have this source if anyone's thinking of coming to Tokyo. Because
Japan, because we also, we cover, or try, of course, Tokyo is where a lot of stuff happens, so a lot of it currently, because we're just kind of building up, is focused on Tokyo, but, I mean, it really is like all of Japan.
Okay.
Trying to organize that and bring everybody together and, have better circle pits.
And maybe do away with flyering.
That's because
we're guilty of that as well.
Yeah, but I remember with what was it, Blood Right Volume 10, I think, the one at Earthdom. What happened? So that was a big one, and then the same night I booked that like 3 months in advance. And is that mic okay? You're looking at it.
It's basically representing me. It's like it's just sloping down more and more. It's okay. This is why I'm.
Okay, that makes sense. But no, with Blood Right Volume 10, that was a great lineup. I can't remember the bands off the top of my head, but that was a really good one over at Earthdom. And maybe a month or so before it happened, and I was promoting everything, mostly online, digitally, there was another really good show over at Antinoch, which is, for anybody who doesn't know, it's like 10 blocks. It's really close.
Yeah.
Right? And like this is actually part of a bigger thing to talk about, but there was this other really good show with actually one of Iron Fist Tatsushima's bands. Tatsushima being the drummer from Gizm, which is a legendary hardcore, like metallic hardcore. Anyway, they're really good.
They basically, I think, just wanted to piss off the audience. So if people were expecting hardcore, they didn't give that.
Yeah. No, but anyway.
Who was that? Which band was that?
That was Cruisum.
Cruisum.
Right. And so I realized that this was happening, and this happens a lot where nobody kind of, oh, hey man, you're doing a show on my night too? Like, you can't do that. There's no real rivalry, but it is kind of motivational, I guess. And so I really...
It's the microphone again. It's sorry, we're good.
I really pushed that a lot online because I was thinking like, okay, yeah, and I think I distributed something like 200 flyers or so, thinking that online's going to do it, and there's a Facebook page, and it's on Twitter, and Retch is talking about it, and blah, 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 blah. And really did a lot of work with that. And the night comes, and I think Blood Right Volume 11 or 10 got, I think it was about 70 people. So again, not a bad turnout. But afterwards, actually it was at a Funeral Moth show a few weeks later that I ran into, I forget his name right now, but the keyboardist from Cruisum, who's the guy who booked that gig at Antinoch, and asked him like, hey dude, like how was it? He's like, oh man, we got like 200 people in there.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, what? How did you do that?
Yeah.
And he told me straight faced, I distributed 5,000 flyers. And it was just like, oh, so it does matter. Like, I don't want to do it really, but you got to do it because that's just unfortunately part of the system. And if we can change it, sure, that's good, but you can't change something like that. Right. So, do the flyer thing, but also do the digital thing, and then maybe slowly.
The other disadvantage with the flyering system is that people who are here, you're not necessarily, I mean, definitely if you're coming on holiday, you don't.
You're not going to get a flyer.
You get the flyers at like the concert before, basically.
Yes, that's how, right.
And so you're in this like loop of Never ever finding stuff. And in fact, just as like a personal thing, I remember getting I think it was the release party for the first Deadly Spawn album, and I had just got Coffins had just released Buried Death, and I was looking for like Coffin stuff, and before that I'd never, because I lived in the countryside, I'd never been to.
But you were out near Kashiwa, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So maybe not countryside, but definitely not. Like
not
that,
Tokyo.
That hip of a place, if
Yeah.
you want to call it that. I remember going to that concert. I had an amazing time. It was really, really cool. The Deadly Spawn album is fantastic. And like leaving and just getting flyers. And ever since then, I've been going to concerts.
And you get like 15, 20 at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, what would have helped me at the time is having that central thing, something, I don't know, like Kaala.
Yeah. Who knew,
Why are you doing Kaala? Why are you interested in this?
Well, I mean, actually, it's sort of a, not long in terms of how long it takes to tell it, but like historically speaking, it's a long time frame. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I think probably when I was about 14 years old, there's a really great venue there that's still running called the Mr. Roboto Project. Super DIY, no stages, and it was just like, the hardcore, mostly hardcore, definitely some metal shows, but Pittsburgh was more punk, I guess, at the time. Maybe I'm recalling this incorrectly. Anyway, around the time I was 14, I started going there, 13 or 14. And soon after, a bunch of, like, pretty much every, summer vacation, 2, 3, 4 Japanese bands would come through. And I just started seeing these great bands. Like, I still remember the first one I saw was a band called Quill. They had 2 vocalists, and it was hilarious. I remember the last song they played, there was, one of the vocalists was singing most of it, and the other one didn't really have any parts. And there was this big circle pit in front of us that I was part of. And I remember him jumping in, the vocalist who wasn't singing, jumping into this pit and pitting with us, circle pitting with us. And then somehow miraculously, this is like Grandpa Simpson taking off his underwear without taking his pants off, somehow going from the pit, like probably maybe 6 feet away and picking up the mic again. Somehow he ended up naked. And like, nice. I have no idea how that happened. And then the show ended and he ran out into the street and we didn't see him again.
No one ever saw him.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I ended up, his name, nobody knew his real name. His name was Noiseman. And the first time I came to Japan, I actually stayed at his place because I got his email address, or the band's email address, and was talking to them quite a bit. They were a big band at the original Niman Denatsu at 20,000 volt.
Oh, okay.
Right? And I remember I stayed a night with him. I mean, he must have had seriously 10,000 some vinyl, most of his apartment. And it was a big apartment too, just covered in vinyl, wall to wall. But no, so that night I remember asking him, because again, I didn't know anything. I was visiting when I was 17 when I came here, and I knew that he, of course, played in bands, and so he would know. And I asked him, he said, "Oh, you gotta go to 20,000 volt because a band called Gorbion Necropsy is playing." And I was like, "Oh my God, I know that band. I gotta go." And of course, I ended up not going, but but I knew it. I had the information. But yeah, so basically I started listening to, pretty much Burning Spirits hardcore from, 13 or 14 years old. And that ended up generating an interest in me in other things in the country. So I studied Japanese. I went to college, continued studying there. And then after I graduated with a degree in philosophy and Japanese history, AKA the most useful thing ever, I moved here, and that's kind of how it started.
Okay. But you weren't always in Tokyo, right?
No, actually, when I first got here, I used to live near Kashiwa myself for about 2 or 3 months.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually did not know that.
Yeah, in a place called Sakasai, which is 3 stops away from...
Yeah, it's even more countryside.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. It's really bad. But from there, I moved up to Iwate. The tsunami thing happened. That's a really long story. I won't get into it.
Yeah, another time.
Yeah. And then I moved down here. Actually, it was really serendipitous. I remember when I moved down here, I had a lot of friends. I still have a lot of friends in the art community, but I didn't, I knew bands, but I didn't know anybody in bands. So I was hanging out with a lot of artists, and the whole reason that I even got started in the Tokyo underground scene was because one night some artist friends of mine were running around Bakurocho going to art galleries, and I randomly ran into Drum Tom.
Same.
At an art gallery.
Was he wearing a battle jacket?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yes, he was. And I remember because there was this big glass pane on the front of the art gallery. I remember looking in and being like, "Oh my God, it's one of us.
So for anyone wondering who the hell Drum Tom is, it's not like a Captain Beefheart Drumbo thing. So Matt and I you joined just before me. We were in a band called Dark Corpse, which was like an all foreigner Japanese band, if that makes any sense. Drum Tom is our drummer, who is highly recognizable, I think. It's kind of fair to say. And
for his lovely locks.
Yeah, his beautiful,
Yes.
like wispy,
Yes.
slowly getting wispier locks.
Yes. I think he's
And
going
in
bald.
fact, funny enough, I met him I picked up, it was this flyer thing. I picked up,
Oh, really?
I almost went Christopher Walken. This is a flyer thing. I picked up and I'll do JCVD in a minute.
All right.
Okay? I picked up a Dark Corpse flyer and saw them at Suizokukan, which for anyone who comes to Japan, if
you will never
can
find that
If
place.
you can go to a concert at Suizokukan, this place, Suizokukan is Japanese for aquarium. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the whole room is full of fish tanks.
It is pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's one of the best places I think I go to. And I saw Dark Corpse playing with Setstar Set as well. The amazing, just ridiculously powerful grindcore band.
Like, yeah.
If you can even call them grindcore.
Like noise grind
Yeah.
avant-garde something.
It's like power violence, but to like the nth degree.
It's really violent.
Yeah, it's post-violence. And yeah, so I met Tom, I met him at Thrash Zone, again, which...
Oh, is that how it happened?
Look it up, people. Thrash Zone in Yokohama.
They just opened up a new spot too, didn't they?
They did. I haven't been there yet, but I'm sure on Golden Week I will be
Yep, Golden Week.
plastered outside. Both met him at kind of... I hate to say the right time, but just it was
yeah.
basically like that.
No, totally.
Like, yeah, I can't remember where I was going with that, but that's our mutual connection. What is next for Kaala? How are you building it up? What are you doing for the people?
One thing I've been moving on, kind of my focus right now is Kaala also provides like advertisement and production for bands, which means photos and video, basically.
Okay.
Right? So I'm kind of putting together a production crew right now. I've got two really great photographers who are working with us, Michael Holmes and Christian Granum.
Woohoo!
Yeah, both their work is phenomenal.
Yeah, if they can take a good picture of me, then they're a good photographer.
Yeah.
Excuse my French.
But the thing that's a little bit more difficult is getting video crew, right? Because, again, this is like a super DIY passion project, more or less. So there's not really any money. And, of course, I need to tell this to anybody who's doing anything with Kaala, like, okay, I can pay for you to get into a show to take shots, but, like, I can't, pay out or anything. So if you get a paying job that comes up, then, okay, please take that. Like, I understand that that's what you need to do. Photographers are a little bit easier to get on board just because, and I don't want to make it sound like photography is anything simple because it's not. It seems anyway that the video production process is much more complicated than putting out a picture. So I've been trying to get videographers. I've got kind of a list of people who I can contact, but again, frequently they have jobs that pay them. So they can't do the job that I would like them to do. But actually, a wonderful little happening happened at Blood Right Volume 11. I met the founder, CEO, I'm not sure what to refer to her as, but of a video production company called Lamali, Lamali, I believe. And actually, last night at Anomalous... What is it? Anomalous Collision. There it is. But that was our first night shooting together.
Yeah.
And her team is really, really cool. They do some really excellent work. And they're really excited about... I got dinner with them on Friday night, I guess, and kind of talked about what we could do together and whatnot. It turned out to be like a 3-hour dinner. So yesterday they shot, yeah. Okay. And by 3-hour dinner, I mean, 3 hours of beer.
Yeah. I know you well.
Yeah. But yeah, so they shot the show last night, and they'll probably be getting the first thing out, I think, sometime this week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And where can people see that? Do you know where people can see that?
Well, it'll probably be... We kind of have to figure that out, I think. It'll definitely be on the Kaala Facebook page. It'll definitely be on the Kaala website, provided the Kaala website is finally launched. We're so close.
So if people want to look at Kaala, sorry to interrupt, it's Facebook at the moment only.
No. The website is online. It's just not fully functional.
Oh, what kind of content can they see on this website?
Very good question. I'm happy you asked that.
That's right. You don't need to mention it.
Well, we've got band interviews, band reviews, a schedule for the entire nation, provided we've entered the information. We've got, photography. We've got, pretty much any content you can think of.
Yeah. There's some good stuff. Very interesting interviews, some surprising ones as well. Because obviously foreign bands come through, and I think that's the one with the Master interview is up there as well.
Master's up there, because we did the entire Obscene Scream. Mm-hmm. Well, not the entire lineup, but I think we got 5 bands. There was Master, there was Chubby, there was Malignant Tumor. Who else? Rompiprop. And and one more. I can't remember exactly who right now. But yeah, because we work, Kaala /Retch / whatever, works with Chubby, who runs the Obscene Extreme Festival whenever he does it in Japan, which unfortunately, apparently last year, despite only being the second time they did it, it's really expensive. And yeah, but anyway, so we work with him, and that was a wonderful, I remember the night, it was the first night of Obscene Extreme last year, and Naru from Butcher ABC runs up to me, because we were kind of working together on it, and he's just like, hey, Master needs like a tour manager. Can you do it? Because they just flew in. I was like, oh my God, really? Like me and Master? This is a wonderful opportunity.
It's a great movie name, Me and Master. Okay, so so we've got Kaala. Is Kaala K-A-L-A or
K-A...
spell it out for me, baby.
K-A-A-L-A.
Okay, so the double A.
Yep.
And that's .co.jp.
Currently, this is going to confuse everybody. I probably shouldn't say it.
Great,
but
I'm going to turn off my headphones.
Right. Currently, it's K-A-A-L-A-J-P, KaalaJP.com. But we realized that some people were kind of getting confused by that, so we just bought the domain KAALA.jp. And we're currently redirecting everything over to it. I think that'll be done by Wednesday of this week. Okay. But yeah, Kaala.jp is the website. And we're on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff too.
I'll give you 3 bands you wanna plug.
I got to back Makiko on this one. Self-Deconstruction, I think, is one of the best bands active today in Japan.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Sound, performance, I mean, there's nothing bad about them. There's nothing even, not great, right? They're excellent. Webna, of course, E-V-A-N-A. Zophic, of course. That's 3. Okay, so I guess.
Okay, guys, thanks very much for listening tonight. We're going to sign off. We have some thank yous. Thank you very much for Matt Ketchum. Thank you very much to the super awesome Makiko Suda. Thank you very much especially to Taka at Studio Kiosk, who has been recording and tolerating my nonsense on this thing. We're going to play you out with something super heavy, and we'll see you next time.